Welcome back to another episode of Holy Banter. I'm Christina Steele.
And I'm Andrea Simpson.
And remember, you can listen to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, our parish app, and our parish website.
All right. Well, we are here with Dan Nield. He is a St. Alphonsus parishioner of the last year and a half, a fellow Boilermaker, which I love, and also the face of That Man Is You from your cantor stand. So we are so grateful that you're here with us today to talk to us.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor and a privilege to be with you guys. Thank you so much for inviting me over.
Yeah, of course.
So just getting a little bit of your background, you grew up outside of Chicago.
Yeah, I grew up in a suburb of Chicago, a very northern suburb called Libertyville, Illinois. It's right near the border of Wisconsin. And as a matter of fact, my mom's side is all from Wisconsin, so I spent a lot of time up there as well. Um, Born and raised Catholic. I was an altar boy for my parish and, just somewhat involved with the youth ministry there for, until I graduated high school and then went off to Purdue. And at Purdue, frankly, I didn't fall away like I was a terrible person, but the Catholic parish was a long walk for me. So I'm embarrassed to say this, but because I was a little lazy, I didn't want to walk a half hour just to get to Mass on Sunday. And so I
Where did you live at Purdue?
Tarkington. I mean, maybe it was a 25-minute walk. I mean, but either way, it was too long for me. I'll tell you that when I was a freshman. So I ended up meeting some Protestants. And, the rebellious me, instead of sticking with the Catholic Church, I started hanging out with those Protestants.
Uh-huh.
It was very easy to get involved with them. And, I did their Bible studies.
Now, where was the Protestant church? Was it less than 25-minute walk away?
It changed. It just depends. Because I
Wherever
was
you wanna
involved
go?
with Crew. And
Yeah.
so that's like every denomination,
Sure.
which is I'll go into it in a little bit of a fault of their own. But when you're non-denominational, you have to be very, I'll just say not loose, but open to anything. So there's no structure. And so, talking about infant baptism, you can't, because you don't want to anger the Lutheran versus the mainline Baptist. And so it's a very shallow, I guess, Bible study, frankly. It's just the reality. I had a wonderful few years with them. Met a lot of wonderful men and women.
Because they usually meet on campus, right?
They wouldn't meet on
So it
campus.
wasn't like a Sunday service. This was just
No, they would meet. You're correct. They would meet I can't remember if it was Friday nights or Thursday nights. But then various friends would go to various different Protestant churches, and so that's why I say it depends. Like one week, Jim might say, "Hey, let's go to this one," and I'd jump in his car and go to that one. And next week, Tim would tell me to go somewhere else. Anyway, so yeah, for a few years, I was doing Bible studies with them and just hanging out with them on a casual basis because they were just good, down to earth people.
Well, it sounds like, so it's obviously you still believed in God.
It was almost like a naivety of hey, it's kind of all the same, or it's all similar enough, right? And I'll never forget this thought I had after 2 years-ish of doing the Bible studies and whatnot. We started talking about the same stuff. And I was like, we just talked about this last year. Isn't there something more? And on top of that, they were asking me a lot of questions about the Catholic faith. Almost, you could tell they're trying to open my eyes to how the Catholic faith isn't the right one. And so they're asking me challenging questions about Mary and the Eucharist and the Pope. And I just remember, this must have been a God thing because I had this book. I think my dad gave it to me. Someone gave it to me when I was in high school, and I just threw it in a pile. But I had it, and it was "Answer Me This" by Patrick Madrid, huge apologetic. And lo and behold, this book had hey, Mary. It has a section on Mary, and it tells you all these answers. And ironically, them asking me these questions led me down the path of finding the answers and realizing that those answers are right. And then, again, after the 2-ish years, I started realizing that, okay, let's go back. Let's kind of take this more seriously. And junior-ish year is when I started more consistently going to St. Thomas Aquinas on campus. And then, senior year, I was pretty much all in. I did Boiler Awakening, if anyone out there was listening, had that when they were there. So that was college. And again, the people I met at Crew, fantastic people. And because of them, it's part of the reason I'm here. When I was looking for a job, I had a few different offers. And one of the things I'll never forget is thinking, you know what? a lot of these people I met from Indiana are just good, down to earth people. And if that's the kind of people that Indiana raises, I could live here. And so I could put roots here. And that, among many other reasons, is one of the reasons I'm in the greater Indy area. So again, senior year, very active at St. Tom's. My girlfriend at the time and I, very active. Usually there 2, maybe 3 times a week.
What was your parents' reaction? Do you think they were just kinda like, you're in college, and did it bother them that you weren't going to mass when you were on
That's a great
campus?
question. The short answer is no, but yes. Like, I think my parents, for whatever reason, knew that I was going through something. Just like,
Mhm,
Dan's gonna figure it out.
mhm.
I'm very grateful that he's still active with Jesus and God, and Dan will figure it out because they never gave me like a hard time about it. Whenever if I did ask them any questions about the faith, they were upfront about it, but they let me figure it out. To this day, I think like I wonder what would have happened if I kept it down this path and strayed further and further away from the Catholic Church. I wonder if they would have said anything. But it's almost like, when you bring a girlfriend or boyfriend home and your parents are, "Oh, they're nice." It's kinda like I mean, the if
Passable,
yeah, 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 yeah,
passable.
yeah, passable. That's kinda how it was. It's like, in looking back on it, I could tell they were fine, but I knew deep down they probably like, "Okay, Dan, whenever you're ready." But yeah, so eventually kinda came back, graduated college, came to Indy. I knew, like, 3 people here, maybe 4, and I tried to kinda start being active in the parish or whatever. Didn't really get my grips in, couldn't really figure it out. I go to church from time to time, but definitely not regularly. Didn't find a group of people. It was also kinda confusing 'cause I was sent to Wisconsin for 6 months for my work training. So it
Mm.
was almost like "Hey, I don't wanna get too involved because I'm gonna be gone and then come back and then come," and so, but which is not a good excuse, but that is the reason.
Yeah.
And, then, summer or spring of 2016, someone invited me to, Theology on Tap, which is put on by Indy Catholic, which is a great organization down in Indianapolis. Love being a part of it, definitely miss it. Um, and I went to some brewery in 2016 and I saw like 150 people. And I was like, "Dude, look at all these guys and girls." Um, it made me feel good to know that there's a lot of other people who are in my similar shoes.
What church were you going to when you moved to Indy?
I
Looking
was church
around.
shopping, so I lived in the Broadville area, so all the Christ the King, St. Pius, St. Joan of Arc, Immaculate
Immaculate
Heart of
Heart,
Mary,
yeah.
then it ended up being St. Joan of Arc.
And what made you pick St. Joan of Arc?
A lot of great things. Short answer is, obviously, it's one of the most beautiful churches in the city.
Since they renovated it, I
Yeah.
went there before they did, and it was just a dark chasm.
That's fair, that's
And then
fair.
I went to a wedding, and I was like, "Wow, this is not the same church."
Mhm. Which is I think they renovated in 2017, maybe 2018, I can't remember
Oh,
exactly
so
the
you
year.
remember what it
Oh,
used
yeah,
to
oh,
look
yeah.
like. Oh, yeah.
We had, folding chairs for a while
Oh,
because
really?
they took out the
Yeah.
pews and what anyway. And actually, when the first year I went there, they didn't have air conditioning, and so that's
Oh,
part of the
wow.
renovation. I'm drawn to a little bit of a traditional, everything. So the music was also very reverent and, organ, hymns. I'll never forget, so my mom passed in 2015, and one of our favorite songs and her favorite song is "Oh God Beyond All Praising,"
Yeah.
and so we played that at her funeral, and literally the following weekend, like, the first weekend I go back to Indy from, like, dealing with funeral and taking care of things at home, they they played "Oh God Beyond All Praising," and I was like, it was a little sign, "Okay, God, this could be it. Like, this
Mhm.
is where I should be." And, so then I just got plugged in. And fortunately, if I, even to this day, if you're saying, "Hey, Dan, give me 3 or 4 parishes in Indianapolis that have a lot of young adults," St. Joan of Arc would be one of them.
Hmm.
Um, Probably number 2 or 3. Um, St. John's is definitely number 1, but there's already a fair amount of 22, 25, 28-year-old people there at St. Joan of Arc.
So you went to this Theology on Tap.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then at Theology on Tap, I met this, handful of people that we actually had a long conversation with. Obviously, I met many people, but one of them was, "Hey, we're having a party this weekend, so come on over." So, like, in 3 days, I'm like, "Yes, let's do it." So went to this party. It was a combo party. There used to be some houses by Bishop Chatard that were torn down because now there's a parking lot.
Mm.
And, one was a men's house, one was a women's house. Ilsam is the president of Chatard. He said, "Hey, I will rent these out to young Catholic adults if they make this a community building house." And so they were all next to each other, the women's and the men's house. And so they had like a combo outdoor party where like there's like, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 people there. And I just and met a lot of great people at that party. And then I just kept showing up. at those houses because they kept saying, "Hey, we're doing this thing, doing this thing, doing this thing," and like fast forward a year now, I'm living in the men's house. Like again, every week, like maybe Wednesday nights or Thursday nights, we'd say, "Hey guys, come on over. We're gonna pray the rosary and then go do dinner, or we're gonna go to confession and then go do dinner, or something, some form of religious Catholic themed thing, and then go hang out, something like that." And then every so often, we'd have like parties at the houses, um, and it was just great. It was just a fantastic setup of affordable living
Mhm.
because they gave us a really great deal, but also intentional living because my roommates and I would pray. Um, the morning prayer from the Liturgy of the Hours every morning. And it was like an intentional, like, hey, let's grow in our faith, but also grow the community.
I think what's really cool, at least from what you're saying, it seems like your faith has always had that community aspect, even when you maybe weren't going to the Catholic church, but you still had that community. I know a lot of Catholics will go to mass and then they'll go home, but for you, it seems like community has always been a huge aspect of your faith.
Absolutely. And just in life, I'm an outgoing person. I like people. I draw energy from being around people.
You work in sales.
I work in sales. I'm a salesman. Yeah, absolutely helped me grow my faith of taking the next steps into faith,
Mhm.
seeing that, hey, this person's doing this person's doing that. Let's go do this together. Fast forward 2 years after I lived in that men's house, they announced that they're finally tearing it down, which I knew was happening. They talked about it for like 4 years before, before they actually did it. So I knew when I moved in, any month I could be given a month's notice, which is fine, totally worth it again, like they charged me $350 a month and that was everything included.
How many were in the house?
Sometimes 2, sometimes 3. It
Okay.
just depends on like what month of the year it was. Anyway, but the women had 5 people in their house, the next door to us. So it was just a wonderful time. So then they kicked us out because 'cause they're tearing it down, which was perfect timing because I was getting married or I was engaged to my wife. So they kicked us out in, like, June. My wedding was in September, so I lived with a buddy for 3 months before the wedding, and then we moved into the house or the apartment or townhome that we ended up living in after we got married.
So, how did you meet Anna?
20 the summer of 2016, my buddy and I, every Sunday, would play volleyball at the sand courts in, Canterbury Park in Broderville, like 56th and the Monon, right around there. And it was just an open, like, and it wasn't Catholic, it wasn't anything. It was just like random people. Hey, invite someone, come on over. And so that was in 2016. And then 2017, we continued in the summer. And then one day, my wife just went to St. John's retreat. I can't remember exactly where it was because I didn't know her at the time. And there they were playing volleyball. And some guy who would play volleyball with us on Sundays said, "Hey, you play volleyball. Why don't you come over and play?" Like the morning of the retreat ended on Sunday. And like Sunday afternoon, she came to play volleyball. So I met her there.
Was it a love connection right away?
She says yes.
What do you say,
No,
Dan?
and I say yes too, but at that point in my life, I had just got done dating some women. And so in my mind, I was like, just because someone's beautiful and Catholic doesn't mean she's the one. And that I didn't know she was Catholic when I met her, but I very quickly soon did. And so we met in August or maybe late July, and it took me a week or two to find out she was Catholic. Then we, not together per se, but we'd all go to Theology on Tap. And then eventually, very quickly, like within a few weeks, we started like texting each other. And then I'm hearing through the grapevine that she's on a dating fast. Whoever doesn't know, it's basically if someone's intentionally not dating people so that they can find themselves and like better
Mhm.
themselves. So generally speaking, it's a good reason. I don't falter for this. But I'm hearing that like she's doing it for a full year. So from like January 1 of 2017 to like January 1 of 2018.
Wow.
And it's
And
like August.
yeah, it's August. But man, she's laying on thick in these texts. She's got like these winky faces. Like you could tell that she's interested in me. And I
Yeah,
reciprocate
yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
So I'll never forget. We scheduled a time to go have dinner and talk about this. I'm just talking about us.
The winky face.
In some yeah, and it was like right around Labor Day. So we had known each other for a little bit over a month now. And I remember turning to my roommate at the time and saying, "Oh man, she's breaking this fast for me. Look at how she's like, she's totally going to, because all these text messages, you can tell she's like really interested." And so we go to dinner and we talk, and we both admit that we both are interested in each other. But she says I'm on this dating fast, and then she says, and keep in mind this is like September like 5th or 8th or first week of September when we're having this conversation. And I said, "So like, how long is this dating fast?" And she says, "Till next year." And I was like, "Okay, so midnight, New Year's Eve, you're done." And she's like, "Yep, midnight, New Year's Eve." And I said, "Okay, well, I think you're worth the wait, so I will wait for you."
Oh.
But you guys
Um,
at least hung out as
oh
friends,
yes, I
didn't you?
know, and
Yeah, yeah.
that's where people make fun of us because
Yeah.
they're like, "Do you still dated?" I'm like, "Listen here, just because we're hanging out in groups of people doesn't mean
Yeah.
we dated
Mhm.
or we were dating." We were very intentional about not having like planned
Okay.
one-on-one meetings. We would play obviously volleyball almost every week on Sundays until it got
Mhm.
cold. Then we signed up for indoor volleyball leagues. So we were together, yes, that was intentional. We did it through a group dating, however you want to say it. So then obviously we intentionally made sure we were at the same New Year's Eve party, and then I took her
Aw.
aside, and at this point, again, I can't remember exactly what I said, but what I do remember is I'm saying something, and all of a sudden I hear people counting down. I'm like, "Oh,
Oh,
scrap what else I was gonna say, just now's
gotta
the
wait.
time." I was
Now we're together.
yeah,
Yay.
yeah.
Quickly after that, were you engaged?
November. I always told her like, "Hey, I think, you need to have a whole year because I wanna we wanna see everyone in the
You guys
seasons and
need to
stuff."
stop setting these time
I know,
limits
I
on
know, but
yourself.
it worked out for me because she had no idea that
Oh, okay.
when I proposed in November because she's
Thinking it'll be a year.
oh, yeah. The night before I proposed, I told her, "Hey, we're gonna have a guys' night, so you go do your thing." Because, me and people were gonna prepare.
Mm.
It was definitely not a guys' night. Ironically, it was me and, like, 3 other girls because those girls were so excited to help set up, like, the whole thing. So, I look back and joke. I'm like, this ironically was not a guys' night." Anyway, so she went to, like, some art show or something with a bunch of girls that night, and I sent a message in Snapchat to a group saying, "I'm really excited for tomorrow, can't wait." And I forgot that she's in that group. So she was gonna be able to see that. I was like, basically admitted over Snapchat that I'm proposing to her. After I sent it, I realized this and I said, "Oh, shoot." So I called her phone and I said, "Hey, Anna, is so and so with you?" She's like, "Yeah. Hey, can you put him on?" She was like, okay." So I had him walk away and say, "Hey, can you go open that Snapchat so she
Oh,
can't see it?"
no.
Wow.
November 17th, the weekend that the day I proposed, was our birthday date because her birthday is November 5th, mine's November 9th. That day, Star Wars was playing the symphony with the movie in the background,
Mhm.
so that was our date for the next day. So my wife knew that we had a date night, a birthday date the next day, even though she didn't know I was proposing. So I told a friend, I said, "Hey, when you go back to her, she's gonna ask you, what was that about? Tell her, don't worry about it. It was for a little surprise for our date
Uh,
tomorrow." My friend thought the wiser and said, "Oh, no, I can't tell her that because she's gonna then know not." But anyway,
uh.
so the friend went back and said, "Oh, it was nothing."
Oh.
And I'm like, "Well, of course she's gonna be suspicious if that's what you
Yeah.
say." So then for the next, like, hour or 2, she's like, thinking I'm proposing tomorrow.
Oh.
But our mutual friend who she's with, a different friend that didn't take the phone, she talked to her and said, "Hey, Julie's her name. I think Dan's gonna propose to me tomorrow." And Julie knows this because everyone's
Yeah.
invited to the surprise party. There are like 100 people at the surprise party. She's like, "Oh, shoot, what do I gotta do?" And she said, "No, Anna, Dan's always said you have to date for a whole year before he's gonna propose." And so, long story short, she talked her out of it. So Anna totally didn't think that I was gonna propose the next day.
Basically, what you're telling us is that God was part of your relationship from day one then,
It
or
I
non-relationship, as it were.
I would say so. I would absolutely say so. And part of that is when you take your faith seriously, God gives you more and more and more and more and more graces. Like, the more you do with your faith, the more God blesses you. And it's not saying prosperity gospel or anything, but
No.
he gives you graces. And yeah, absolutely. Um, and this whole while, with the exception of our volleyball, everything we did was with group. Obviously, if we didn't go on dates with people, it was all people at the Catholic Church.
And you didn't
Um,
live together before?
no, we didn't live together before. We had a very hard set rule of like no clothes off ever, which we stayed true to.
You
Which
said you didn't even go on away trips together.
yes, correct. The only time we'd ever spend the night in the same room or building, excuse me, was at our family's houses. And obviously we'd be at separate rooms. So yeah, and so to that point, like, we never went on any trips. So like when we got married, we were like, hey, because we didn't go on any trips when we were dating, let's go now. So yeah, you're right. We definitely took our dating relationship very seriously.
So was that a hard transition when you moved in together?
No, it was amazing.
Just because that's sometimes the argument people use is, well, I want to try it out
Oh,
before.
that's a total farce, and I can go down another 25-minute rabbit hole about why that's a farce. But don't everyone tells you that, oh, you gotta try it out together, you gotta get practice. No, that's a lie.
I remember when I was dating a guy in college who I wouldn't do what most couples do when they're dating this day and age. And I said I was waiting till I was married, and he told me I would never get married. And I said, "Then I'm never getting married," because that's just kind of the attitude I think a lot of people have in dating. And so it's special that you were part of a community where that wasn't expected. I think that's unique today.
And that's another good point about community. Like being in that community helps
Mm.
because you almost have a certain positive peer pressure
Yes.
that you have to uphold your good standing. Like, hey, all of my 58 friends over there, I don't want them to know that I'm,
Or be disappointed,
yeah, they
or
don't, or
yeah.
to be disappointed or anything like that. So it's almost like a positive peer
It's
pressure.
accountability.
Accountability. Yep.
Mhm.
Right.
Um,
'Cause that's not easy. We're human beings that have desires that God gave us, so
yeah. So, and living with God loving men, there's no way she was ever going to stay the night because like
Mhm.
that my roommate's
Yeah.
going to know. And obviously neither of us stayed the night because that was part of the rule. Members of the opposite sex don't spend the night here.
And I think that's part of the reason why people do that get married faster because what are you waiting for?
I
So
couldn't.
how quickly did you know you're gonna propose?
The Obviously two kind of answers. The main one is I started looking at rings early summer,
Okay.
so 5, 6,
Mhm.
7 months into it.
Mhm.
And then I bought the ring. I told myself I'm not gonna buy the ring until I have permission,
Mhm.
which unfortunately was a month after I knew which ring I wanted to buy, just because
Oh.
of like timing and stuff.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So I went back to we planned a weekend just casually going back to her family's house,
Mhm.
and I ended up asking her father, and then the Monday we come back, I buy the ring.
And where's Anna from?
She's from a town called Plymouth, Indiana, which is just south of South Bend. So about
Near Culver.
yep, near Culver, so just about 2 hours north of
And
here.
she's one of 13.
She's one of 13, has a wonderful family.
That's amazing.
It's beautiful. Her oldest brother is 35, and her youngest brother's 15. So like
Wow,
it's 20-year gap, and
that's
it's
cool.
just cool to know all of them. They're a wonderful family, and her parents have done a great job so far, with all of
So
it.
tell us about your journey after you got married and planning your family and kind of that
Mhm.
journey for you.
So one thing I've told everyone, not everyone, but a lot, I only have one regret in my marriage, and it's that we avoided pregnancy for X number of months.
And why did you do that?
Part of that was because like we didn't travel at all during dating because we tried to, not spend the night together, not put ourselves in those positions. And so we were like, hey, let's go have our fun now. Let's go get married and go have our fun. This is our time. And so we said, let's wait for the right time, right? Let's wait till we can find a house to buy. Let's wait till we can have the money to do this. Blah, 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 blah. There's never a right time. Just go
Mhm.
have babies now. You will never be quote unquote ready. And I'm not saying that to scare you away from it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that like you can always find an excuse to not be ready. So we got married in September, and then May, so what, like 6, 8 months, however many that months that is when we found a house. And so literally like, okay, we're ready. Let's do this. And so, it took X number of months to conceive. Then when we did conceive, we unfortunately had 2 miscarriages. Obviously, it was very painful. She didn't want people to know. And I totally understand. Me, on the other hand, I'm like, I am open about it. I want to be open because A, I want people to pray for us. But then B, like I find out that like so many other people have been through this. And so you're able to connect that way.
You said that this didn't really have a negative impact on your relationship with God going through that.
It didn't, and I don't know why. Because so my mom died, like I said, in 2015. It's very easy to think, hey, if someone very close to you dies, it's very understandable that people might fall away from the faith. They're distraught. They lose hope, whatever it might be. But ironically, all of us kids grew stronger in our faith after my mom died. And it's not like the day after. Like I don't know when it
Mhm.
started, but you would have thought that at least one of the four of us might have fallen away, or gotten mad, been mad at God, whatever. But no, all four of us are like super in our faiths. We're doing our own thing in the faith, whatever
Mhm.
direction we're taking. But like, it's really interesting, and I think part of my mentality was, and this might have came because of losing my mom. Like when my mom died, my mentality was okay, let's move on. Not like forgetting about mom, but God and my mom knows that I have something to do, and they would not want me to sit and wallow in grief and sadness because of death. We have a life to live, and I've got a kingdom to help God build. We all do. Just because there is tragedy in your life doesn't mean you have to put your life on hold, or you should put your life on hold. You got to keep living for God. And so similar things happen with the miscarriage. Like it was really tough. I got to be there for my wife. Well, that was another big difference between losing my mom and losing miscarriages. Is I didn't realize how much like my wife needed me, and I had to be the strong one.
Mm.
I was always pro-life before that, and so was my wife, but, like, now after, like, it's even more so. It's like, it breaks my heart when I see people who are like, "Oh, this child's a burden, it's gonna hold me back from, like, making my dreams," or, like and it breaks my heart way more than it did 6 years ago, 5 years ago,
Because you realized after you finally had your first one, what a gift
Oh, yeah.
because you couldn't make it happen. It had to be
Mm.
something God permitted to
Oh,
happen.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's there's such gifts, and some people who hear this know this, but I joke, but I'm half serious, like, we're not stopping until menopause, right? So God, please
Poor
pray.
Anna.
No, she's on board too. Please pray for our fertility.
I mean, she
Um,
has 12 siblings. I'm sure she's
She's well
yeah,
prepared. She's well
exactly.
prepared for that.
And she's homeschooling.
yes,
Yeah,
we're
that's
Oh,
great.
mhm.
wow. So how long after the 2 miscarriages did you have your first baby?
Last miscarriage was February. He was born in January, so
So soon
another
after.
2 or 3 months later was the
Mhm.
conception.
Mhm.
That definitely shaped us in a very good way. Like it made us stronger and in our faith.
And now you have 3 beautiful
Now we have
children.
3 beautiful children. Around that same time was when Father Guy at St. Joan of Arc was having his around the time he was having his final mass, and someone I don't want to say randomly, but they just said, "Hey guys, we could use more people to sing for his last mass." And I'm over here thinking like, I sing in the pews. Why not just sing over there?
So you've never sang any other way before?
Not professional, not like
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
no,
Or even like in choirs
no.
or anything.
No, but my family was always somewhat musical, like, we would sing at masses. My sister played the piano, she went to
Oh,
Notre
okay.
Dame for a musical performance. So, like, that was in my family, but, like, the guys weren't,
Mhm.
like, professionally trained. We would always
Mhm.
sing at mass, is basically the extent. Consistently sing at mass, and then have a piano at home. But then, I don't know how much you guys know about choir, it is not just simply singing the songs,
Right.
there's different parts, and so my eyes were open immediately. But I just figured out and learned. I had a few good mentors there at St. Joan of Arc that helped
Mhm.
took me, "Hey, Dan, let me teach you this and teach you that." And then, um, the choir sang at, like, the 10:30 mass, and if eventually, once we had Ben, our oldest, we couldn't make the 10:30 mass because that was his nap time, so we'd go to 8:30 mass at St. Joan of Arc, and they don't have a choir there, so I just told him, "Hey, can I just be a cantor instead?" And
Which
so
is hard.
easier for me.
You get to sing the
I
melody
get
the
to
whole
sing the
time.
melody, yeah. But I understand why you think it's hard because 'cause you're,
Yeah.
like, up there, you're, like, leading
Yeah.
the whole thing, it can be a little nerve-wracking, and you're right, the first, like, 3 or 4 times it is, but after so long,
That's
it's you get
amazing.
used to it. So that's why that's where my singing, comes from, and I do love it. I
And
love singing the
and
hymns.
now you're on a chant choir.
I am in, this men's school that has a handful of,
Mhm.
St. Al's men in it. We sang the 3rd Sunday of Advent.
And
So now that you're a dad, how does God show up for you every day? Like he showed up for you and Anna and your relationship and your community, but how does he show up in your family?
Oh, it's so beautiful. I can't. It's so easy to say this, but it's harder to do it. Like if you just actively live your faith, your kids live it twice as much. They will say things and do things that I don't even think. Like they talk about God, they talk about Jesus. For a while, Mark, my now 2-year-old, every time he see a cross, he'd point to it and say, "Amen, amen," as like a 1.5-year-old. But yeah, if you just surround them with the faith, that's like what they know. A really funny story. Oh, it's so cute. Our 3rd just got baptized, like, a week ago, and we were at, Holy Rosary downtown. It was with me and my brother's child, both a dual baptism,
Nice.
and my kids were running around with their nieces and nephews. Like, I was like, "Guys, get back here," trying to grab them. And my oldest 4-year-old Ben, he says, "No, daddy, I have to go pray." And, there's, like, side altars with, like,
Mhm.
Joseph and Mary. Like, he ran to, like, the Mary altar and, like, knelt down and started praying, and I was "You're supposed to be over by me, but I can't, like, keep you from praying." So I, like, let him go. Him and his cousin were just sitting kneeling there on the kneeler in front of the Mary altar, and it was just so cute. Nowadays, I just kinda have, like, two things that I focus on, my family and God. My one overarching goal in life is I wanna get as many people to heaven as possible. And I know it's not all on me. I'm just saying, like, that's what
Mhm.
God has given me all these gifts, us all these gifts. I can never repay him for what he's done for me and everyone else I love. The least I can do is just at least try a little bit for him. And so if I can just get one more person to heaven that wasn't gonna be going to heaven, what can I do to make that happen? And obviously that starts with the family. And so how can I get my wife and children to heaven? And then once I feel like that's taken care of, then I can move on to, like, my community. I played football, basketball, volleyball in high school. I obviously played volleyball and football when I was a single guy. I still play volleyball now. Like, I'm a sports guy. I used to watch hours of football on Saturdays and Sundays. I used to watch hours of college basketball, and none of that stuff matters anymore. Now I do keep up with it a little bit. Know who won the national championship? Go, congratulations, IU.
Yeah, let's not talk about
It
that.
wasn't Purdue.
It wasn't Purdue, but hey,
We won't name them, it's fine.
But anyway, so my point is, like, I'm not embarrassed, but I can't believe that I would spend 6 hours, 8 hours a weekend just sitting on a couch, when now, like, it wouldn't be that. If I had 8 hours to my day, it wouldn't be that.
Mhm.
I would be here at a Bible study, at something for for a kid's birthday party, whatever. Something for, like, the kids and family, and or something for God. Now, obviously, I'm not perfect. There's definitely plenty of times when I do, like,
Mhm.
a secular thing that isn't helping build the kingdom, but that's just my overarching mentality of, like, what can I do to bring as many people to heaven as possible? Because it's the least I can do for God.
Yeah, it sounds like you just realize that God's tasked you with this mission. And I know you said one of your favorite, or kind of not favorite, but fearful parables was that parable of the talents.
Yeah, like the giving, "Hey, I give you 10 talents,"
Mhm.
and then as opposed to the guy who was received 1 or 2 and they buried it.
Mhm.
Like, I would be embarrassed if I got to heaven and God was like, "Hey, Dan, I gave you all these gifts. Like, why'd you only use some of them?" And I know he would never say that, like, but that's just my mentality. And I would be embarrassed if I didn't do everything I could with what God gave me. Like, blessed me so much.
Mhm.
You don't wanna waste it.
Yeah, I don't wanna waste it. Um,
And it's just great you realize because we all are tasked with a mission in our life. Of course, families first, but then how we can bring people we encounter to God.
Someone could look at me and be like, "Wow, Dan, I can't do what you do. You like talking in front of people. I hate talking in front of people."
Mhm.
And I'm like, "That's fair, but you've got something that I can't
Mhm.
do."
Yeah.
Like, I envy single men because I can't do so many things now with having kids, and, like, the hours of, like, between 5 PM and 9 PM are, like, blocked off for me, right? But if I was a single dude, I would be, like, doing something out there for
Mhm.
the Lord. I would have so much more time to do things. Yeah, that's why we hosted get-togethers with people when I was a single guy with the young adult community down in Indy.
There's seasons for that, though. Now I feel like I'm a big kid
Mhm.
parent because 'cause I've
Mhm.
got a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 6-year-old, and you kind of get into a new season.
Mhm.
So you're in small kid season where they better be in bed at bedtime or you will pay for it later.
Mhm.
But
But there's different seasons and different ways to show up. So I
well,
think you're doing a great job.
and obviously you're aware of this, but just the importance of how we raise our kids and that you're a good husband to your wife, like those are what matter the most.
That's your purpose right
Yeah,
now.
right
Mhm.
now, exactly.
And, not to jump on a tangent, but I obviously help lead That Man Is You. One of the great things about that, and you can get this through other avenues too, but every time we go to That Man Is You Tuesday morning, I come home and I just think I have this renewed motivation of doing better as a father. You go to That Man Is You and they talk about this and that, and for 20 minutes of the talk or the video, maybe you get 1 minute from it where you think to yourself, "Oh, shoot, I need to start doing that more." And, like, every time. Every time I go home, I'm like, "Oh, I need to start doing this more. Oh, I need to start doing this more." Yeah. So, there's always a little piece of That Man Is You that kinda makes me better, us better, hopefully.
Mhm.
And it, like, kinda, like, reminds you, "Hey, Dan, you should be doing this for your kids more." So, that is another beautiful thing, that helps grow me as a father, and a husband.
And you're serving the community, which was what you I think you'd been here 6 months when you got roped into the planning for
Yeah.
this.
I
You
was
mean
still
lovingly joined.
He just showed up. He's new to the parish. He got invited by somebody and
I was still technically church shopping between here and, St. Joe's in Lebanon, but, we're halfway between the 2, so I was like, "Well, I
yeah.
don't know if we'll go which one we'll go to," and part of what happened in Indy with me, the previous, 7, 8 years before we moved here, was I don't wanna say I'm a yes man, but, like, "Hey, say yes, find something to do."
Mhm.
I can't just we can't You can't sit at home,
Mhm.
and do nothing.
Mhm.
So when someone presented me an opportunity to get involved, I was like, "Sure." And when I went to that first
Mhm.
intern meeting, I had no idea what it was about.
Yeah.
It could have been something that wasn't for me,
Uh-huh.
and I was prepared to say no.
Mhm.
But, as you know, I'm a people person, so when they said this would be a people thing, I was like, sure." And I might have been the first or second person that said, "Sign me up for," I said, "either be an MC or a hospitality guy,"
Mhm.
and here I am. So, but yeah, just say yes. That's another problem for those people out there who hear this, who are in that position of like, I'm looking for a community, I'm looking for people to grow my faith with. Like, you just have to say yes. There's too
Mhm.
many opportunities where you could just go home, watch movie, watch a
Well,
TV show, and no,
and
go find people.
And I think that's part of what hurts parishes today is it's so wonderful. There's all these podcasts and Bible studies you can do online now at home. But I actually think it hurts parish community because we have hardly anyone in our Bible studies now. And we have, people can find excuses to not do stuff because they're doing it in their car or whatever. You need to be around people. And I always quote this probably every week, but my professor always said the church is how we work on each other. God puts us in each other's lives. That's how we work on each other. And if you're just by yourself, you're basically in your brain and this echo chamber, and you're not going to challenge yourself to do better. It's that community that helps kind of inspire, hold you accountable, and just kind of help support you in your faith.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I know there are introverts out there who are obviously I'm not one of them, but like God still
Hmm.
created us to be a
Yeah. Yeah.
people. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like,
The people of the people.
yeah, we're with the exception of a few various hermits, like we all live with people. So go be with people. And again, you
Hmm.
don't have to be with people 24/7
No,
if you're an
not at all.
introvert, but like if you want to grow and be better, you have to,
Hmm.
what's that phrase is iron sharpens iron, so
Hmm.
another man sharpens another man.
But even thinking about too, being intentional about the people you're hanging out with,
Hmm.
right? At least in your story, you chose to live at a men's house and go to Theology on Tap and hang out with people that in a lot of ways would help you in your faith and where you wanted to be.
Andrew, you bring up a great point. That is a tough point for me, a tough topic for me to figure out. This is a gray area of like, you don't want to be surrounded by a bunch of sin-filled people. You lie with the dog, you rise with the fleas, kind of thing, where you will fall into sin if you surround yourself
Hmm.
with too much sin. But at the same time, you don't want to like rope yourself off from the world because we
Hmm.
want to bring people from the world into heaven. So I will struggle with that for the rest of my life. But you are right. You need to surround yourself with people that will make you better. And I don't intentionally do this, but I find myself sometimes hanging out with or being around people who are older than me because they just, I mean, hey, they probably know more than me, and so they probably can help me grow. Again, I don't exclusively hang out with people who are older than me, but like I sometimes find myself, hey, I'm the youngest one here. This is a great opportunity for me to learn.
I remember you saying that was one of the cool things about Batman is You is they kind of give you wisdom of don't do this. These are things I did I wish I hadn't done.
Exactly. And so to your point, to the greater point of be intentional about who you surround
Mhm.
yourself with. And if you do surround yourself with people who, let's just say, are living in sin or promoting sin, like be very, very aware of that.
Mm.
Hopefully, God willing, you can help them see the light. Again, there's nothing wrong with hanging out with sinners
No.
because we all are, but just be aware. You want to be around people that make you better.
And I remember you're helping out with the revival
Mhm.
coming up
He's the
soon.
MC for the revival.
And I remember you spoke last year at
Hmm.
the revival, and I do remember you saying how with intentionality you would share your faith with everyone, whether it was at work or wherever you were. And I remember, I think it was you that said instead of saying bless you, you would say God bless you.
Yes, that was me.
Yeah. So I
Mhm.
still remember that, and I had not met you at the time, but I think that's important. I've noticed it, at least in my family, now that I've been working at the church for the last few years, the more we talk about it and live it out loud and, show our families, the more you see it. So I think it's amazing how you will, yes, you're intentionally picking your groups of people you're spending lots of time with, but you are sharing your faith with everyone
Mm.
by intentionally thinking about what you're going to say and how you live out your life. So I think that's really great.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate that. And you're right. I do like to subtly drop it to a bunch of people who don't know. Like I might have people come into the house like working on my HVAC or whatever, just random people. And as they leave, I always say, "Have a blessed day." Now I'm not perfect. I might miss somewhere here or there, but like I say, "Have a blessed day." Or when they walk in my house, they definitely know that I'm
Yeah.
somewhat Christian because I've got a bunch of work,
Texas,
crucifixes,
yeah.
artwork. I got a relic in my house, and like they got a Mary statue. That's another thing. Hey, everyone out there, go get something to put around your house, in your house, that shows that, hey, I love God. So that way, when everyone walks in, they could say, hey, this person loves God. But you're right, like just and as I said a year ago in the revival, like you don't have to shove it in someone's face, but you can be subtle about it. And
Mhm.
like I remember listening to a podcast. It's called The Exorcist Files. I love it. This one random act of a woman giving another woman, I think it was a Sacred Heart medal, like helped save this woman in the long run. Not, like save her life per se, but like she essentially struggled with demons, and every time she had that Sacred Heart medal around, she was like the demons were away from her.
Wow.
Scared, and that woman who gave it to her had no idea that this little thing was going to help you in 20 years, 10 years, whatever. Just these little subtle things will come back to help people. You could maybe do 150 of these little things, and even if it affects just one of them, it's still worth doing.
True.
Um,
So the other thing I wanted you to mention that I think is pretty neat is just how important tithing is for you.
ah,
And I love the quote your dad told you.
mhm. So I don't know when this happened in my life. A little before marriage. It had to have been before marriage because that's when I remember sitting down and actually doing math. Tithing to the church. There's always this 10% thrown around because in the Old Testament they talked about 10%. That's where the word tithe comes from, 10. And if people actually sat down and like gave 10% of their income, like the church would have no problems.
Mhm.
Right? And that's what happened years ago. Like the reason we were able to build these beautiful churches
Mhm.
150, 300, 700 years ago was because people gave 10% of their income. Now, I know for a fact because I did this, people aren't like actually sitting down and doing the math. Because I remember when I sat down and did math, I very quickly realized that, oh, just throwing in 20 bucks a week is not close to my tithe, what I should be giving. And so my wife and I sit down and we intentionally choose the different charities. We obviously give a chunk to this parish, but we also give to other charities that help spread the message through various ways. It doesn't have to be exclusively Catholic. I would highly recommend everyone do that to the best of their ability because once I started doing that, again, God must have just been showering me with graces because like I don't want to go back. I intentionally still do. I like sit down with my wife, like imagine how many more thousands of dollars we would have if we as a family didn't do this. But like I don't care. Like I
Mhm.
see the fruits. There's a lot of joy that comes from seeing you give to someone who needs it and then seeing what happens with that.
Mhm.
Like, one of the bigger ones we give to is Women's Care Center, and we go to the bingo night every year, and it's amazing, it's a lot of fun, but just seeing all the babies that you save, they say,
Mhm.
"Hey, $83 helps this, every $29 helps with this," and,
Tell
like,
tell people what the Women's Care Center is.
the Women's Care Center, which they're opening a new one downtown,
Mm.
they set up shop next to Planned Parenthoods to the best of their ability, and they try and help save people from giving and getting abortions. They say, "Hey, come here. We'll help you raise the child. We'll give you diapers. We'll give you free classes. We'll give you ultrasounds." They give free ultrasounds. Then once the baby's born, they'll do free like baby weights. They'll weigh your baby. They'll help. They'll do almost anything. They have real like nurses, like certified health professionals on staff helping out. Give them a bunch of free stuff. Again, if you show up, like if you as a mother show up to these classes, let's just say 6 classes in a row, you get a free crib. Or like if you
Wow.
or like you get 100 diapers or whatever it is. Like
Yeah.
if you do these milestones, we give you free stuff to help encourage them to keep it with us. So that's after the baby's born. Obviously, before the baby's born, they give free ultrasounds. They give counseling of like, obviously, hey, you can do this. We have a whole network of people that can help you. Even if you're alone, even if your man left you, whatever, we can do it. We can help. So yeah, it's just giving to them
That's neat.
X number of dollars a year. Seeing, at this big a night that I was able to give a piece of myself to help with this.
That's neat.
It's beautiful. So my wife and I sit down every month.
But you gotta repeat the quote your dad told you in
Okay.
college.
So back in the day when I was I was around college time because I think I was having a summer job, and so like college, I'm taking out loans to go to Purdue, out of state. Totally worth it for me. Maybe not for everyone, but so I'm in debt like 40,000, whatever the number is, and I was making let's just say 8 grand that summer. And my dad made some comment about like, hey, make sure you give some of that back to the church. And I being the super smart 22-year-old or whatever, however old I was like, Dad, I'm 30,000 in debt. This $8,000, I'm still in the negative. I shouldn't be giving anything yet. And then my dad basically said something along the lines of, you will always have an excuse not to give away your money. You'll have a mortgage, you'll have credit cards, you'll have a car. For the rest of your life, you'll always have an excuse not to give money. So you have to start now, otherwise you'll never start. And so he was right. Now at that time I wasn't giving 10% because like I told you, I didn't really sit down until
Well,
8 years ago. But
and the other thing was he said to take off the top line, not the bottom
oh yes,
line,
yes.
which was interesting.
You take your 10% off from the top of top line, not the bottom line. For those who don't know, the bottom line is after all of your expenses are counted.
Mhm.
Let's say you are done with. Let's say that means you have $1,000 left at the end of the month, which I know might be a lot, but let's say I make 6 grand a month and I got $1,000 left over. You're supposed to take that 10% from the $6,000, not the extra fun money that you have. Because I was thinking I got to take it from the
Mhm.
bottom line because I'm in debt
Mm,
from all these. But
That's pretty powerful.
especially being parents to young kids. I mean, this can be a pretty
And a stay-home
tight,
mom.
right, and a stay-at-home mom, this can be pretty tight, so to have the commitment to do that is really admirable, I think.
I appreciate that. But again, I still do it because God is making me feel this joy of doing it. And I think I mentioned this before. I can't explain it all, but I have noticed over the past 5, 10 years that the more I sacrifice, not just randomly sacrificing things, but like the more things I do that are sacrificial, like God tells us to do, the greater joy I get from it. Tithing, saying the rosary, not eating meat on Fridays, not just the Fridays in Lent, but like we as a family strive to not eat meat on any Friday. We've chosen for Sundays, we don't do restaurants, we don't go out to eat, we don't go to grocery shopping. We just sit at home and we be with family. I mean, sometimes we might leave for whatever, to go play somewhere. But you get what I'm saying. It's Sunday is a day of leisure. We don't work and we don't want others to work for us. All these various sacrifices have brought nothing but joy. And it's that first step that like is scary. I'm so used to going shopping, going to Lowe's on Sunday, doing whatever. Like, how am I going to make Sundays work if I can't go do my chores or whatever? And so once we took that step, about 3 or 4 weeks into it, we're like, we are so glad we did this. This is great. And it's just the same thing with all the sacrifices that God tells us. Going to confession, we used to go to confession like once or twice a year. And then we started intentionally trying to go every month. And boy, that's amazing too. All of these sacrifices that God tells us to make, dude, go make them. Totally worth it. And there's still plenty more sacrifices I can make. I'll
Mhm.
admit that I'm not perfect, but I'm just saying, like, every so often we start making sacrifices, like us as a family, and like, they seem counterintuitive, but then shortly after we see the fruits of them, and we're like, dude, this is great.
He does make sense.
And this is another reason of why we obviously are Catholic, because like a lot of what God tells us to do is like counterintuitive. Like,
Mhm.
hey, what 18-year-old boy wants to wait till marriage? Like, right? But now it makes total sense as an adult. Like everything that God tells us to do, not everything, but a lot of it goes against our nature. But if you actually follow it, you have a much better life. Yeah. So thank you, God.
Just using those virtues of temperance and fortitude. And
Absolutely.
so you agreed to be the MC for the revival this year, which I appreciate.
Absolutely.
How are you feeling about that?
I'm excited. I'm nervous. Not really nervous for the uh emceeing part, more nervous for my wife 'cause she's staying at home with 2 of the 3 kids. I'm gonna bring our oldest,
Mm,
but I mean, we already talked about it. It's gonna be fine.
she'll be good.
She'll be okay. She's the strongest woman I've ever married.
You've ever married, you've
Yeah,
ever met.
yeah, yeah. But no, I love her obviously. So she's the reason I can do any of this. But no, I'm really excited. I never had a parish revival, obviously until last year.
Remember the first time I told you about it, you're like, "What is that?"
Yeah, yeah. The parish I grew up to didn't have it. Now maybe they did, and I just didn't pay attention to it. But yeah, it's really exciting. To get all these, as many people together to have
Mhm.
various discussions and topics and talks and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I'm just honored that you asked me. I feel like there's like 700 people more qualified, but I'll take it. I'll do it. As I said, I'll say yes and
We'll figure
help.
it out.
No, we will. Well, we will figure it out. But no, I'm very optimistic about it. Very excited. I'm excited to see all the people there, and hopefully,
Yeah.
again, there could be 200 people there, or 500 people
Mhm.
there, and even if only one person gets moved,
Yeah,
that's a win.
exactly.
And that's kind of how I am with that man as you. Getting men to go at 6 in the morning on a Tuesday is a little bit of a daunting task. But I tell myself, like, I don't, even if one person gets something from this, I'll keep doing it.
You got 10 more people this spring,
Yeah, we,
right?
we got about 10ish people more signed up this spring. So,
That's awesome.
but yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing who and how many people
Mhm.
come to the revival and get something great out of it.
That's
Hopefully,
awesome.
they can have a little bit of a change in life for the better.
Mhm.
Yeah, Dan wants you to come hang out with him,
Yes,
so
yes, that's what I come hang out with me. Yeah, definitely, it'll be fun. If you
Well, we
can,
appreciate your service at the parish and stopping in to give us your story. It's a really sweet story of how God has worked in your life and motivated you to be that disciple in the world.
thank you very much. I'm just honored you guys let me come in and tell some of it.
we
I'll
look forward to March. Hang out more.
Well, thank you.
thank you, ladies.
Dan.